Hey everybody, and welcome back to Revival Health. I'm Lindsay, and on this channel we talk about functional medicine, health education, natural living, and more. Today's topic I know is going to be a timely one because I'm going to be discussing back to school time, fall sickness season, and what I personally do in my home to try and keep our family healthy. I want to preface this video by reiterating that I am not a medical doctor. I am not your doctor. I am a registered nurse and I am providing education. Please consult your trusted provider or pediatrician before making any healthcare decisions for you and your family. So first, I want to say that I think it's good to remember that it is normal for kids to get sick. I think because of the last few years that we've lived in, we all kind of panicked at every sniffle. But I just want to remind everybody that it is very normal for children to get sick. And on average, children have between 8 and 10 colds a year. So we need not panic. We need not stress. But let's be empowered and educated and informed with this video of some ways that you can support your children's immune system. So when those inevitable colds and sniffles come along, you'll be prepared. So the first category of things I want to talk about are prevention type products. Some things that I think can help you to strengthen your child's immune system and yours too, that will help you prevent severe illness. One of the first things that we do regularly in our home is we take probiotics. I think this is really important because 80% of your immune health is found in the gut. And if your gut is unhealthy or if you have a dysregulated microbiome, you're going to have a harder time fighting off germs. And it's going to be more likely that bacteria, viruses, and other things are going to take hold and replicate. So by creating and keeping a very strong microbiome, this will help you to fight off illnesses. The probiotic that we take is from Megaspore. I take the capsules and my kids take Megaspore Biotic gummies. These are spore-based probiotics, both of them for the adults and children. And I really love that because, as I mentioned in my other video about probiotic choice, a lot of probiotics never actually even make it to their intended destination because they're killed off by stomach acid or other things. So I like a spore-based probiotic because it's essentially planting the seed in the gut and allowing it to populate from there on its own. So we take probiotics. I will say I'm not perfect, but we do it most days. And that is our number one defense. The second product that we use in our home regularly is elderberry syrup. Now you can purchase these already made. You can purchase elderberry gummies. I personally am not a humongous fan of the gummies because I find that they're usually including added sugars and sometimes other additives and things that are not ideal. And I think that the syrup is better. I make my own syrup and I'll link below the recipe that I use and the organic elderberries. I just buy them from Amazon, but I have found that to be really a lot more affordable and cost efficient considering the volume that we consume throughout the year. I just make it in the crock pot. I put the elderberries, water, ginger, sometimes a little bit of cloves and cinnamon if you want, and then let it simmer, strain and mix with raw honey and let it cool and you're done. I will again link below the recipe if you want to try it for yourself, but I love elderberry syrup because it does boost the immune system. You can take a dose of it once per day as prevention. And if or when you end up coming down with symptoms, you can take it 3 to 4 times a day. Typically, adults will take 1 tablespoon per serving, and children over the age of 1 will take 1 teaspoon. It's important that you listen to that over the age of 1, as children under the age of 1 should not be given raw honey. according to the CDC. I typically just make up a batch of this, usually in September, and we keep it in the fridge. And between the 5 of us, it doesn't last terribly long, but it can last in the fridge for several weeks. And then when one of us has any kind of a sniffle or symptoms of sickness, then we just bump it up a little bit for that specific person, and the rest of us will maintain our once daily dosage. Now, you definitely should consult your doctor if you have autoimmune disease. My doctor told me basically that it's up to me to kind of tell how I feel with it. I personally have not had any issues, but it can cause the immune system to become a little overactive. So just consult your healthcare provider about whether or not elderberry is a good choice for you. Another option would be vitamin C. Now, I think Earthly's makes a vitamin C drop for kids, and there are many vitamin C products on the market. Personally, I think the best absorbed vitamin C is the liposomal, and I'll link to some products with that are administered that route as well. And that just means it goes in your mouth and it's absorbed through the lining of your mouth on the inside of your cheek. And that is one of the best ways for it to be absorbed. Vitamin C is excellent at strengthening your immune system and can be a regular part of your diet as well without needing to be supplemented. But if you choose to supplement, there are some great products that I'll link below. The next product that we keep around here year-round is activated charcoal. Now, again, consult your doctor, but activated charcoal is something that we use on a regular basis when the dreaded stomach bug or anything like that is coming around. Anything GI related, we typically use activated charcoal. My husband and I will just swallow the capsules based on the packaging instruction. For the kids, we just open up the capsule and sprinkle a little bit on applesauce. They know that they just call it the black sprinkles, and that really works as a binder. So if you're not familiar with activated charcoal, we used to give it all the time when I worked in the emergency room because it would bind to foreign substances or toxins in your digestive tract and move them quickly through. And so we gave it to people all the time who had overdosed on things because it was able to absorb it, bind to it, and get it out before the medication or whatever agent they had overdosed on was able to be absorbed through the bloodstream and begin to cause all those toxic effects. So you can see why in small doses it can be helpful for the same thing. It can bind to foreign substances like viruses that cause those nasty GI bugs that go through the whole house, it seems. I will say that typically when we use activated charcoal, at the first sign of illness or after we've had an exposure to someone who like the next day has come down with a stomach bug, we have a pretty good track record of keeping it limited to that one individual that may have symptoms. So, which is really helpful because if you've ever had the stomach bug go through your entire house within a few days of each other, you know it is brutal. So this is something that I really value and use a lot. One caution with activated charcoal is that it binds to everything. So you want to make sure you're taking it several hours away from any medications or vitamins or other things that you need, because it will cause them to pass through without being properly absorbed. So you need to consult the back of the bottle for instructions as well as your healthcare provider. But this is something that has been very successful in our home. And lastly, I want to talk about Tylenol and Motrin. Now, I will say we do not do a lot of this in our home. I typically tend to believe that fever is a good thing as long as the child is able to hydrate well. I believe that fever is helpful to the body. It's doing what it's supposed to do as far as raising the body temperature to kill the virus or bacteria. Studies have shown that when Tylenol and Motrin are given frequently and early, the body temperature stays at a low enough point for that invader to replicate more profusely, and you will likely have much more of a viral load. However, you need to be careful because you want to make sure that your children are able to hydrate enough, because that's one of the most serious complications from fever. So again, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just sharing what we do in our home. But we do keep acetaminophen and ibuprofen on hand. I would be much more prone to use ibuprofen over acetaminophen because acetaminophen depletes the body's glutathione, which is super, super important for being able to fight infection. So if you were unaware of that, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Tylenol, which is known as acetaminophen, actually depletes your body's ability to fight off the infection. So I'm much more likely to use ibuprofen if need be. And what I would recommend is a brand called Genexa. And again, I'll link this below, but Genexa is a wonderful choice because they are dye-free. Genexa products are also gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan, and they are acceptable for many different specific diets. And I personally love them because they are one of the cleanest children's medicines out there. So many conventional children's medicines, like we talked about last week, have artificial colors, artificial dye, artificial sugars, and really a lot of unnecessary and unwanted ingredients in them. So Genexa is a great brand. They make acetaminophen, they make ibuprofen, and they also make a children's cough medicine. And then they also do allergy medicine. So they really have a lot of wonderful products. Just a disclaimer that I am not affiliated with any of these products or companies, and so I do not make any profit for recommending them. I just simply share what has worked well in our home and what we do as we approach the fall and winter sick season. Another must-have product that we use all the time in the winter is a humidifier. We use a cool mist humidifier in pretty much everyone's bedrooms at night because it is such a way to keep the air moist and prevent it from those dry coughs that tend to creep up. So highly recommend investing in a cool mist humidifier for your children's rooms. And it wouldn't be a video from Revival Health if I didn't talk about lifestyle changes. So make sure that your children are getting an appropriate amount of sleep, limiting sugar. I think one of the biggest reasons why we see so much sickness in the winter is because we have so many sugar-laden holidays. And I'm not saying you should never enjoy yourself, but when you consider you have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Valentine's Day, all within a very short period of time where there's, generally speaking, a lot more sugar consumed than usual. When you combine that with the fact that many or most children are spending time indoors versus outdoors, so there is less fresh air consumption and naturally less vitamin D, that you're setting yourself up for failure if you're loading them up with sugar on top of that. There's mixed research about whether or not children should supplement with vitamin D. If you're interested, I can link some products below that I think are good quality, and you can discuss with your doctor whether or not it's a good choice or necessary for your children. But naturally speaking, we will have less vitamin D in the shorter days with less sun, so it is something to consider. So I hope that you all have a wonderful back to school season. I wish you all a healthy back to school season this fall and winter, and I hope these tips were helpful for you and that you can get stocked up and prepared and be able to hopefully even prevent some of this illness from coming in the first place. That's it for today. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing and share with a friend so they can have the tips as well. And stay tuned for more information as it releases every week. Thanks so much. Have a great day.